I am about to put this thing on Facebook Live, and I haven't figured out all the details. I just named it. I'm calling it the Daily Bread Project. Just giving people their daily bread, a little dose of goodness.
It's
Uh,
awful religious. I'll take it.
it's quite, yeah, it's quite it. I was meditating this morning, and it came to me. I'm like, this is what I want it to be, because I think faith plays a part in it. But we can talk about that on the air. I'm going to get this thing. I'm going to go live on Facebook right now. Let's get this thing popping. All right, sharing a page you manage.
It's vital. That doesn't work. That doesn't.
Uh-oh, Facebook's misbehaving.
Dude, so I use free conference call for everything, and they were shut down this morning.
What? Why?
I don't know. I mean, maybe it was just a minute that I logged in, but I usually do my conference calls, and I called in and it said the number is not working, no longer working.
No kidding.
It's going to be a lot of that kind of stuff going on, I'm sure. People need to roll with it. So what I do, I hopped on a Zoom.
Oh, you know what? Zoom is acting funny too. We might just put this on my timeline if it doesn't work, or we might just it might work on my timeline. I don't care where we get this out there. I just want to get it out there. But Zoom is misbehaving as usual. And if not, we'll record it and put it up as a video. Awfully religious. I like that.
What is it?
Here we go. We're going to get it on the timeline, so you can share it off my timeline. There we go. So if you want to share it, you just go to your Facebook. We're going live right now. I think everything will be working. If not, let me make sure that I got the recording.
So is it live on my timeline too?
So if you go to my timeline on Facebook, you should be able to grab a link and share it. Yep. So it's live on my timeline. So if you go there and share it, it'll go over to your page. We'll figure this out. Like I said, I don't have any of the details worked out. So we're doing this. It's 10 o'clock, 10 a.m., and bringing you some look, let me explain what's going on here so you guys know that I have not lost my mind. We are living in a weird time. The press is bombarding you with negativity. Your neighbors are probably telling you Armageddon is coming. They're loading up on toilet paper. From the stock market to the supermarket, people are losing their minds. And I think, well, hell, am I going to go down in flames and die alone, or what am I going to do here? And so I decided to bring you the Daily Bread Project. And Joe made a comment. He's like, well, that's awfully religious. And I'm like, hell yeah, we need faith in this time. And so I've got with me the dude from the Whole Scaling podcast, the Whole Scaling book, the guy that is taking the nation by storm by whole scaling, Mr. Joe Evangelisti. What's up, brother?
What's up, man? Thanks for having me on.
Yo, man. So tell me, you were giving me a report, or giving us a report yesterday. You said New Jersey's being locked down. What's going on over there? What are you guys seeing on the ground?
Yeah, look, I mean, first of all of our schools were shut down for at least the next 2 weeks. We imagine it'll be longer than that. Then last night, our governor locked everything down. 8 p.m. last night, lockdown. No restaurants, no bars, no retail, no gyms, anything like that. So, now's the time to be quarantined, stay safe, right?
I don't know. Well, some people think this quarantine thing is a problem, and I have to take it seriously because I go out and I do my walk. The main thing is I'm not sitting in a restaurant with a bunch of people breathing on me. When I see somebody, I might take a couple extra steps to the right and get out of their way. But what are you doing, man? So the point here, and this is what I want to bring, because with all the darkness going on out there, with all the bad news, with all the media pummeling you with this COVID-19 stuff, I want to bring some light. I want to disinfect this situation. So how are you staying positive right now?
Well, I mean, first of all, look, JR, we're both business owners, we're both leaders, we're both responsible for a whole lot more than just our families. There's a lot of people that rely on us to put food on the table, that to feed their families and to pay their rent, pay their mortgage. So, I don't think that, going the scare tactic route is going to help anybody in this situation. That doesn't mean that I don't think that we shouldn't take this seriously, that we shouldn't do the right thing, that we shouldn't limit our exposure. At the end of the day, it's a virus, right? It's going to travel. It's going to infect people that are, most in contact. That's why immediately, all the sports venues shut down, all the concert halls, anything that was 5,000 people and above and so forth. So, let's stay safe, but that doesn't mean that this is going to be complete economic collapse for everybody in the world, right? We have a moral obligation and a responsibility to continue moving forward. And so what do great leaders do? They adapt, right? We come up with other ways. We come up with ways. Thank God for technology. Knock on wood, even though it's not 100%, right?
Yeah.
It's working. So even for my teams that have to be boots on the ground, we're finding ways to do things virtually. We had 10 new salespeople start yesterday morning. They're supposed to be in my office at 9 a.m. Hitting the phones and making calls and training them, one-on-one within that, realm. And we decided, hey, this isn't the safe thing to do. It's not the right thing to do. I had already given all non-essential personnel the ability to work from home and stay home this week. And we thought, man, it's not a smart thing to do to bring 10 new people into the office that have never been here. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know, who has what and who's sick. I could be carrying it, right? So, so we made it work. We made it happen virtually. We set up virtual systems. We set up Zoom calls like we're on right now. We set up the technology in order to help train them to do their job and still do it effectively and do it all from home, which is amazing, right? We can all do that today. So I think there's a lot of ways to put opportunistic spins on this.
Yeah, and I want to go down that route for a second because I believe that people are freezing up right now. People are scared. They don't know what to do. And you're saying you got 10 salespeople making outbound calls. Like, so how do you see the opportunity here? Spin it for me. Give me some positive. How are you leveraging this, and not in a way of taking advantage and scaring the hell out of people, but how are you leveraging this to spin it or move forward?
First of all, I think there's a ton of ways to leverage this thing ethically, right? There's going to be, however, because I'm sure if you checked your email box in the last 3 days, 85% of it was titled coronavirus, right? And a lot of people are handling it ethically. A lot of people, yeah, right? And, we're all doing this stuff. I mean, it's a marketing, it's part of marketing, but I think you can do it ethically or you can do it unethically, and you can do it in the wrong way. And unfortunately, the news media makes a lot of money, a lot of advertising dollars when they scare the shit out of people. It's been that way for thousands of years. And that's, when you cry the right message and you get people's attention, a lot of times negative creates more attention than positive. It's just how it works. Like we're all accustomed to, to driving by on the highway and rubbernecking on that accident. Oh my God, what happened? Right? It's just that's our nature. So it's normal for news media to take those type of things and say, well, the only way I'm going to sell advertising and get the eyeballs on my broadcast is to have the most sensationalized headline. It's all about clicks. It's all about eyeballs. It's all about attention nowadays, right? Because when you're on that news media website and the Geico ad pops up, you might think, oh shit, now's a good time for car insurance, right? Like that's just how it works. So what I think we can do ethically is, yes, use the message. Yes, get the eyeballs. Let's spin it in an opportunistic light. And in our businesses, we have the ability to do that. Almost every business has the opportunity to do that, by the way. And I think that it just needs to be done properly in a positive fashion and take advantage of the situation that we're all unfortunately stuck in.
So what are you doing, man? What are you doing at home? You said you self-quarantine, just limiting exposure, which is what we're really trying to do. So we slow down the spread. So what are some of the things that you're going to do with this extra time that you have at home?
Listen, I think for all entrepreneurs, this is your time. I have been preaching, and look, you do this, I do this. Every successful entrepreneur that we come in contact with in our mastermind groups does this. It's time for self-reflection. It's time to journal. It's time to think about your next steps. It's time to slow down in order to speed up. You're being forced to slow down right now. Most entrepreneurs spend 50% or 75% of their day just putting out fires and doing busy work. And I always say that it's because they're actually arsonists, right? They're all setting the fires to put them out so they feel good about themselves when they get home. Look, you have no excuse now but to focus on the high gain activities. Focus on what your team is good at. Focus at coaching them to be better at what they do, right? You have all the time in the world now to pick up a journal and write in it. By the way, this is the journal you sent me. So, but pay attention to the minutia. Pay attention to the efficiencies. And hey, God forbid we make things more effective and more efficient, right? Think about all the time we waste in travel and in overhead and office space and everything. And now you find out in this next 2 weeks, wow, you know what? We can still be productive without all that stuff. It's amazing what human beings are capable of when they're faced with impossible odds and how they come out the other end. It's awesome to see a team double down on the efforts to perform, but do it more efficiently and more effectively because they don't have all the other stuff, keeping them busy.
I like what you said there, and I want to just shine a spotlight on that. This is a time to take advantage and slow down to speed up. So increasing your efficiencies, finding out what you really didn't need, getting rid of any of those ineffective things that, like right now, I don't need an office. I don't need anything. I just need a microphone. I need a camera, and I need Joe on the other end of Zoom. And the same thing you can do with your teams. Like, I love the idea, and we've been doing this for a little while, coaching up your team and virtual coaching your team. I have ideas for all of our clients. I'm like, this is the time right now. Like anybody who sells supplements, I'm telling them, hey, it's time to start pushing those immune supplements right now. Like, this is the time to take advantage, help people get healthier, help them with the awareness. I have some people that are in the actual physical training and that kind of thing. I'm like, hop on a Zoom call, get 30 people and do a class on a Zoom call. This is the time to just do crazy things like that and stand out. I mean, how are you leading through this? Like, it just came to me. So we're being leaders. How are you leading your team and your clients through this?
Well, so I think you really hit the nail on the head right there. First of all, they predict, and there's all these crazy predictions, that the knowledge business in the next 2 years is going to be like $7 billion a year business or something like that. I want people listening to understand that the knowledge business is a real business, but mostly for people that actually have the knowledge to share. Who've actually accomplished something. Like, the whole guru thing is really taking a hard right turn, and people are starting to understand when it's fake and it's ineffective and it's not.
Well, how do you know the difference? Because I'm glad you brought that up, because one of the things that I pride myself here is working with people that are doing the work. You're one of those people. So how do you separate the fake guru from someone who's actually been there?
I think it's very simple. What is your history? What has your team accomplished? What have you done? Right? And I'm talking from, you can do, there's knowledge business on how to bake cakes. There's people that want to be better bakers. There's people that want to be better cooks. There's people that want to be better dog groomers. There's people. So if you have a history of being successful at a thing, now is the time to record the content on that thing. And let me tell you, like, what I see is the logical progression of that. Right now, I'm spending hours and hours and hours a week recording content because my team needs it, because I have an active team doing wholesale, for example. It's one of the things we're putting together right now, the whole scale playbook, right? I'm spending hours and hours and hours perfecting the craft and getting that content down in actionable videos, actionable steps, worksheets, things that can help people go from zero to hero in the wholesale business. But I'm doing it for my team. You see it? You see what I mean? So my team gets to watch, learn, grow, get better. But the byproduct of it is, now I've recorded it. Now it lives in infamy. Now it's a sellable product, and people should want to buy it because we have the success on the back end to prove it. It's not like I went out and did one wholesale deal and said, hey, let me build a course, right? I'm building the course for my team, which is now hyper valuable for people that want to get involved and scale a wholesale company and take it from 1 to 3 deals a month and get to 5 to 10 deals a month, or excess revenue number that they're looking for. This is something that all business owners can be doing right now. If you're great at HVAC, record it. If you're great at baking cakes, I can go on and on. There's so many people that can make money teaching others how to do something that they're great at. And by the way, it doesn't have to be your business. Maybe you're great at golf. Maybe you're great at tennis. Maybe it's a hobby you had. There's so many ways to monetize that effort that you're putting in, and then at the same time that you're doing something you love. That's what makes it great, right? Teaching others how to do something that you love to do. You're going to get paid for that. You can get paid for that. And multiple people around the world want to learn from you if you're great at a thing. So
tell me more about that, because I like the idea, and we actually had this conversation last week privately, but let's bring it out in the light.
yeah.
Let's bring it out to the Daily Bread listeners. What does it mean? You said you were, I think your exact words were, you're doubling down on content. What does that mean?
It means normally I would spend a couple hours each week trying to get that stuff recorded. I'm teaching what I call visionary moments, visionary videos, right? Where, for example, almost every morning I have 4 huddle calls. I meet with my retail team at 8:45. They're only 15 minutes. Retail at 8:45, wholesale team at 9 o'clock, my wholesale syndicate team, which is all around the nation, at 9:15, and then Mammoth Conversions is our digital media company. I meet with them at 9:30. So it's a 15-minute meeting every single time, and I'm recording these meetings and their trainings, their KPIs, their metrics. That's the team on the call, solving high-level problems, dealing with objection handling. There's a little bit of a nugget in each one of those things. Now I can take that. Not only am I benefiting my team because I'm giving them time, I'm showing them the vision, I'm helping them understand, I'm helping them learn, grow, I'm coaching, right? But that's actionable stuff that people want to see so that they can do it for their teams. The wholesale syndicate's a great example. I do the 15-minute call. I get them all accountable. These are operators that own their own wholesale operations around the country. They get on the call to be accountable to a group bigger than themselves, and it's friendly competition, it's interaction, and it's sharing your actual numbers of what's happening so that we can see what's going on around the country, and we can compare notes, what's working, what's not working. Showing them how to do this is just the ability of them turning around 15 minutes later and hopping on the call with their team and doing the same thing. It's a repeatable process, right? So when you have a business with great repeatable processes that work, I think that's the big, aspects, right?
Yeah.
That work. When you do something that works, people want to do the same thing. They want to follow. They want to take, that to the level inside their own business.
I like the idea. What I'm hearing here, and for you guys listening, you might need to rewind that. This guy is talking about leverage. He's talking about scale. He's talking about educating once and then using that over and over and over again. And that's what I call creating assets in your business. And so if you don't have a business, because Joe, you've been talking to people that maybe are workers too. If you don't have a business, this is a way to create a business, sharing your working knowledge, recording it, and giving it to someone else so they can use it. So a transference of knowledge through video, through the media that we're creating, those are the big opportunities. So I love that so where else do you use that? You're using that internally. Are you using it externally, and how?
Yeah, so now we can take that and we can package up different products, right? Again, valuable products that are going to help people succeed, not fluff and bullshit. I want to be very clear about that. If you set out to make a ton of money on this, that it's never going to be valuable because all you're paying attention to is the paycheck and not the value you're teaching others. I'm trying to think of where I read this recently. Actually, it was a Dan Sullivan book, I think, where he talks about if you're an island and all you pay attention to is your own paycheck, that's fine. You're going to stay that island forever. You might have a high paying job, but the fulfillment and the value and the scale can never happen, right? But when you start to pay attention to how much opportunity can I create for others, the more people you create opportunity for, and everyone's heard this, the more money you're going to make, right? So this is a way to leverage your existing business. Because a lot of people think about their business like an island, right? They think like, well, nobody outside of these doors, maybe I have 5 employees or 15 employees. Outside of this realm, nobody cares about what goes on in here. The truth is, and I try to tell this to my mastermind guys all the time, you don't have to be a 10 to coach a 2, right? You don't have to be, an 8 to coach a 1. Like, if you're further along than the person, then that knowledge is valuable to them. They want to know how to get to that scale. Maybe it's an HVAC company with 1 or 2 employees, techs in the field, and they want to get to 15, right? Just because you don't have 150 doesn't mean you can't train how to get to 15. You've made mistakes. You've overcome challenges. You've fixed processes. You've simplified things, right? There are things that you can teach, that person with 1 or 2 employees to get them to 15. And by default, when you start to teach, you start to learn, you start to grow, you're going to be at 50 people. And then that person with 2 is going to be right behind you at 30 people. So it's not a, it's not a, I have to be here in order to teach here kind of thing, right? If you have great knowledge in your industry and you take that knowledge and put it into, writing, into video, into teaching, into recordings, now you can use that knowledge to help build your team while you're helping other people build their teams. And that's how people create multiple streams of income, guys. That's how, you start to be able to leverage, I love what you said there, leverage that ability, right? So for example, and this is something that I learned years ago, and I know you implement, JR, but if you're going to spend time doing a training, right? Say it's a video training and it takes 20 minutes. You could actually rip that audio, you could send it to rev.com for $1 a minute. You could have somebody actually dictate all of that. What do they call that? Dictate, right? Transcribe, that's the word I'm looking for. They can transcribe that into words. Now you're going to get back a multiple page document, Word doc, that has everything you said in that video. At that point, you can turn around, you can turn it into a blog, you can turn it into email, you can turn it into a downloadable PDF, you can turn it into, there's a million, it's a social post, it's an Instagram post, right? Now all of a sudden that 1 20-minute video, it might take you another 20, 30 minutes to implement all these other processes, right? Let's say you spend an hour of time, that training lives on forever in all different atmospheres, right? It's an email, it's a download. You can eventually monetize that. Build those trainings up, build yourself a book. That's what the playbook came from, right? The whole scale playbook that we're writing right now. I mean, it's going to be 400 or 500 pages of downloadable PDF with videos, with tutorials. It's step by step. Everything I ever learned about wholesale and everything I think I forgot I learned about wholesale, right? I've been actually interviewing newer wholesalers. I've been on the phone thanking them for buying the book and saying to them, like, what's the next step? Like, what's holding back? What's the scary thing? And I'm like, man, I remember that from 10 years ago. Here's how I'd overcome it. So I'm taking it from absolute zero to here's how you scale a business. And it's not only just for the customers, it's for the team that I have different guys at different levels inside my team. Hey, check out chapter 3. It'll talk about that. Right. So it serves 2 purposes. And again, guys,
more than that.
Yeah. And this is how you take things virtual, right? This is what people value, those type of products. It's going to help them grow.
There's just too much. And that's what I like about talking with you, is that you are a wealth of knowledge. So I want to go back and just hit a couple of points that you talked about there, because it's easy for people to miss the tremendous value you just dropped. Number one, you talked about Dan Sullivan and being an island and helping more people. So I'm in strategic coach. I'm 5th year in strategic coach. And one of the things that Dan Sullivan, strategic coach team, teaches us is that we got to get our processes down so well that they are repeatable, duplicatable, and able to be handed to someone else. And so when you get your processes down like that, that becomes a product. And that's what you just said. Is like, and that's what they teach us in coaches. Like, yeah, you deliver this service, but when you document this service, which we call behind or a back of stage, front of stage, back of stage, you have these processes so tight. What ends up happening is that could become a new knowledge product for you. And so where you said, yeah, maybe you're making this for the money and all that, and that's not going to work for you. The fact of the matter is you should be doing this to make your service better, make your service repeatable, make it like McDonald's standard franchise. And that will eventually become a product, another stream of income, as you said. And that's one of the important things. Like in these times of uncertainty right now, one of the things I'm so happy about, I'll tell you, Joe, I lost my ass in 2004, 2005 in real estate. Oh, no, wait, excuse me. I got my ass and then I lost it in 2008.
You kind of lost it that point.
No, I got it. I got it chewed off in those years.
Yeah.
But I built this online deal, this agency, whatever I'm doing today was to have a second stream of income just in case things like this happen. And we're thinking about right now, okay, so some people aren't going to be able to pay rents. We're going to have some issues on that side. So our income is going to change a little bit over there. We got this other stream of income, which is the agency. And what you're talking about is on top of that, another stream of income in knowledge products. So there's so much that you said there. Number one is just get better at what you do, get better at delivering it, and you can eventually turn that into a product. Number two, have multiple streams of income. And number three, I think the most important thing is not building this for other people. And this is where you separate the guru, the fake guru, from a real operator, is they build these things for themselves. We're building these things to make our lives easier. And then we realize, oh, shoot, this is going to bring value to someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, you hit the nail right on the head. I actually didn't even know you were in Strategic Coach. I've been following them for a long time. It's interesting that what I find is that most people at a high level, they are investing in knowledge. They're investing in, people that know things better than them because they're trying to shortcut. If it took you 15 years to learn this thing and, I can read your book and I can learn it in the next 3 years, implement, process, and grow, well, then there's a lot of value to that. And guys like you and I do this all the time. We're part of a $30,000 a year mastermind. I'm part of multiple masterminds, right? I will pay for products. I will pay for speed. I will pay for implementation. And I know that there's the people out there who will do the same, right? And so I want to help them, scale quicker, learn quicker, avoid the obstacles that we put in place, create and show them the simplistic processes it takes to actually turn and make money in different businesses. I think one more thing that's important, I call it maybe like, step 2 or level 2, and I only know this recently in the last year or so, is like our digital media company is expanding rapidly. And so what we've started to implement was, and we call them SOP, standard operating procedures, right? That's a military term for those of you that are vets, or if you heard that before. What I'm doing now is, because I don't have intimate knowledge of that business, I understand from a high level how it works. I understand marketing very well. I understand how to sell it. But there's so much tech stuff that goes on in the background, right? Link this API and make that thing fire and do. Dude, I don't know this stuff at all. But what I started to say was to my team, look, you're the smart one. You know what you're doing. Create an SOP around it. If it's a process that we have to do multiple times, 5, 10 times, I always say to my team, what happens if you get hit by a bus? Like, I don't want to lose you, but God forbid you don't come in next week, right? Is the company going to crumble? Nobody, I don't know how to link APIs. Like, it would take me 10 hours just to learn how to do what you did in 20 minutes. So starting to get the team to be smart enough and proactive enough to build their SOPs, update their SOPs, change them, right? Because we have system changes, we use different software, we have different connectivity and all this kind of thing. Servers are different, IPs are, always different. So as things progress, maintain your book of SOPs, maintain your role in SOPs, because why? I know, and it took me, by the way, guys, it took me 12 years or 10 or 12 years before I sold or even thought about a single product. I wrote my book, 2 years ago on rehab. I never thought about selling products. It took me a decade to sell product, doing the work first. So now I'm learning in the next phase, hey, I'm building this next business. I know there's a lot of value in the processes in the business we're creating. The revenue curve is unbelievable. You invest, and then next thing you know, it's an amazing business. I want that stuff recorded now. Like, what are we doing that works? What are the processes? While it's simple, while it's boring, what are we working on that we can actually replicate and teach in the future to somebody else? Now, again, you're not going to see me release a product on data in the next 6 months, a year or so, right? Until we get it really, really good and we've made a lot of money at it, right? But at the same time, I can be recording. I can be putting the content together. I can be, getting that replicatable process dialed in into an SOP that's, again, going to be shareable. I can teach somebody else, because it's not just good enough for me to grow one business. I want to help other people grow a similar model, a year or two, however long from now, when it's ready, teach other people to do the same thing.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I'm realizing now is when you get in that mindset, when you're thinking about putting structure into everything you do, it raises your efficiency. And so you're knocking out, I call this a stack. You're knocking out multiple things at once, where it could be some marketing pieces. It could be internal training piece. It could be the SOP so that the business is sellable. So you're knocking all these things out at once, but you don't know that when you're first starting out. You're just doing, and you get really good at doing because things have to get done. But what you're talking about, and what I want to shine the light on right here, so you guys get this, This is a high level operator right here. This is the guy leading the company. This is the guy thinking forward. How can I replicate this in 2, 10, 20 companies? How can I replicate this all around the US so that I'm helping more people with one single bit of effort? And this is something that Mark Evans talks about all the time. What is your return on effort? And so what I hear you saying right now is you're spending time in your unique ability, your team is spending time in their unique ability, and you're getting a high return on effort right from the very beginning so that you guys can knock it out of the park every time, all the time. Maybe I'm putting words in your mouth. Oh, looks like Joe is frozen. Joe, come back. There he goes. I hear him. All right. Joe, you're not back. If you're not back, we're at our 30-minute mark anyways. Oh, Joe. Okay, so Joe dropped. He might come back in, but let me give you guys, because we're at 30 minutes. I wanted to keep these at 30 minutes. This came to me as I was meditating this morning, and here he comes. You back, brother?
I don't know. Can you see me? Can you hear me?
I can see you and I can hear you.
Oh man, that was, I don't know what it is. I think it's the Corona taking out the internet. Look, guys, you know, just to reiterate, I know we're wrapping up. I mean, at the end of the day, all businesses, you have the ability to be a great leader. You had the guts and the ability to take the risk on yourself, become an entrepreneur, become a business owner, write payroll checks every Friday. It is your responsibility to keep the message positive. It's your responsibility to make sure you're paying the bills. It's your responsibility to make sure your people eat. And if the craziest thing, you know, is that to me, is that this has been 2 days people have been quarantined for most cases, right?
Yeah.
And you would think the freaking world is coming to an end. Guys, slow down, take a deep breath, spend some time with your kids, reflect on what you've created, reflect on what you have the ability to achieve, reflect on ways that you can get creative and help your team succeed, because it is your responsibility. 100% it falls on you. And if you thought it was tough to be a leader when the market was fucking awesome and people were just throwing money at you, it's going to be twice as hard to be a leader when the market crumbles and people are looking for, you know, the frenzy and they want to get created and, you know, wrapped up in the drama. This is your time to double down on being a great coach, being a great leader, you know, focusing on your team, helping them succeed. And inevitably, there are a lot of people, like I said at the beginning of the show, money doesn't go away, it just changes hands. So you either get it put in your hand or you lose it. It's your opportunity and it's your ability to go out there and decide which direction you want to take it.
Boom. And this is exactly what we're doing. And first of all, you're awesome. You were the first person to step up and say, let's get on this positive message. You want to do this? Let's get positive out there. And this is what we're doing here, folks, is there's a lot of negativity out there. There's a lot of things going wrong. We are here. We're coming to you daily. We're going to bring you the daily bread, which is your nourishment for leadership, for productivity, for light. There's a lot of dark out there, and I'm going to bring you the light. Joe's bringing you the light. We are here to light the path for you to be a better leader, a better person, to take advantage of what's going on here in a positive way. So thank you guys for tuning in. Joe, you're awesome, brother. I always love talking to you. Thank you for being here. And we're going to keep these coming every day at 10 a.m. Thank you all. We'll end this meeting, and we'll go about our business. You're awesome, Joe. Thank you.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate you.